Leading our Sliver swarm is Sliver Overlord. Yay! Don't you love him? Well, I do. Most people hate him. Sliver Overlord is our Wooburg commander, white, blue, black, red, green for a 7/7 Sliver mutant legend. Pay 3, search your library for a Sliver card, reveal that card and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Pay 3, gain control of target Sliver. This effect does not end at end of turn. The other printing of this card doesn't have that little thing, but it's good to note that it doesn't end at end of turn, so if you can change people's creature types and steal it, it's going to be good. It's hilarious. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be playing our boy, we're going to be tutoring for the perfect Sliver for every moment, for every answer. It's awesome and sick. I love it. Let's get into it. For the 33 creatures, we have Root Sliver, Basalt Sliver, Quick Sliver, when you know it, a bunch of slivers. Root Sliver, 3 and a green for a 2/2. Root Sliver can't be countered. Sliver spells can't be countered. Beautiful. We tutor for this when we need it. Somebody's playing a lot of blue. Come on, get them counter spells out of here. Basalt Sliver, 2 and a black for a 2/2. All slivers have sack this creature. Add 2 black to your mana pool. This can give us some extra mana. We make some tokens. This also combos off with the Queen Sliver. Sliver Queen, the OG. We love it. Quick Sliver, 1 and a green for a 1/1 flash. Any player may cast Sliver spells as though they had flash. I have saved my butt a couple of times with this one. At instant speed, tutor with the Overlord. Also at instant speed, Quick Sliver, also at instant speed, another sliver to answer a problem. Up next we have Heart Sliver, Venom Sliver, and Siphon Sliver. I'm gonna get tired of saying Sliver. Heart Sliver, 1 and a red for a 1/1. All slivers are unaffected by summoning sickness, which means they all have haste. Awesome. Venom Sliver, 1 and a green for a 1/1. Sliver creatures you control have Death Touch. It means any amount of damage that it deals to a creature is enough to be lethal. Siphon Sliver, 2 and a black for a 2/2. Sliver creatures you control have lifelink. Whenever they deal damage, it means that you gain that much life, which you'll need because there are a lot of shock lands. All of the shock lands are in this, and you're going to need to tutor for the Sliver at some point to get your life back. Then we have Sliver Legion, the Sliver Queen, and Noble Hierarch. Not all of them are slivers, believe it or not. Sliver Legion is Wooburg, white, blue, black, red, green for a 7/7 legendary creature sliver. All sliver creatures get +1/+1 for each other sliver on the battlefield. Gonna pump them up real big. Sliver Queen, legendary creature Sliver Wooburg for a 7/7. Pay 2, put a 1/1 colorless sliver creature token onto the battlefield. She combos off really well with the Basalt Sliver, and then another one we'll get into, which is Lava Belly Sliver, which whenever another creature enters, it deals 1, like it pings 1, so you can make a token, sack it, make a token, sack it, make a token. It's infinite combo to win the game out there. Sliver Queen is very, very expensive, very, very old. It's on the reserve list. I think this artwork is the actual jumbo card printing version. You'll need the one from Stronghold, I believe. You don't need it. You don't need it at all. It's not a must to have the Sliver Queen. You could slot in something to help you ramp more. Like we got the Noble Hierarch over here. Maybe you could run the Ennoble instead of Sliver Queen. You don't have to have the Sliver Queen. Okay, I just have it, and I'm going to put it in there because it's a sliver, and it's a sliver deck, and it's the queen of the sliver, so, you know. Noble Hierarch, 1 green for a 0/1 Exalted. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, that creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. We don't care about that. We care about the tap. Add green, white, or blue. Just mana fixing. It's a dork. Up next, we have Gemhide Sliver, Sentinel Sliver, and Shifting Slivers. All slivers again, guys. All slivers again. Gemhide Sliver, 1 and a green for a 1/1. All slivers have tap. Add 1 mana of any color. This sliver and another one that protects us are vital. You want to tutor for this one first or the protection one first. Really up to you, but most of the time I go for the Gemhide or the Mana Weft, which we'll get into. Sentinel Sliver, 1 and a white for a 2/2. Sliver creature you control have vigilance. That way you can attack out and keep your blockers up. Shifting Sliver, 3 and a blue for a 2/2. Slivers can't be blocked except by slivers. Beautiful. Hopefully no one else is running slivers. Then we have Spiteful Sliver, Striking Sliver, and Mana Weft Sliver. Spiteful Sliver, 2 and red for a 2/2. Sliver creatures you control have, whenever this creature is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to target player or planeswalker. Keeps kind of people on edge about wanting to deal damage to our slivers, either through blocking them or them swinging out at us maybe, or dealing burn damage to it. Also with Blasphemous Act, this goes sick. You got a board full of slivers, 13 damage each one. You can quickly close out a game. Striking Sliver, 1 red for a 1/1. Sliver creatures you control have first strike, keeps them from trading, which is beautiful. Mana Weft Sliver 1 and a green for a 1/1. Sliver creatures you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. This is the other mana one that we'll be tutoring for in the early game. Then we have Harmonic Sliver, Necrotic Sliver, and Sliver Overlord. Harmonic Sliver, 1 and a green and a white for a 1/1. All slivers have when this permanent enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchantment. It's the sliver form of aura shards, and everybody hates it as soon as it comes down. Necrotic Sliver, 1 and a white and a black for a 2/2. All slivers have pay 3, sack this permanent, destroy target permanent, instant speed removal on a stick for all of our slivers. Blast any permanent you don't want for 3 mana, which is pretty nice. Sliver Overlord is Wooburg for a 5/5. Sliver creatures you control have indestructible. Another one of our big boy Sliver Lord. Then we have Gale Rider Sliver, Lava Belly Sliver, and the first Sliver. Gale Rider Sliver, 1 blue for a 1/1. Sliver creatures you control have flying. Give them some evasion. Fly right over everybody else. Lava Belly Sliver, 1 and a red and a white for a 2/2. Sliver creatures you control have when this creature enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to target player or planeswalker, and you gain 1 life. This is the one I was talking about with the queen and with the basalt sliver, because you pay the 2, make a token, sack it, pay the 2, make a token, sack it, do that repeatedly, and the Lava Belly Sliver is triggering, making the other tokens trigger the whole time, winning you the game unless somebody stops you. The first Sliver, Wooburg, for a 7/7 Cascade. Sliver spells you cast have Cascade. Now, most people run the first Sliver as their commander, and technically, if you build this deck list this way, you can just swap it out for the Overlord too. You may have to change a couple of the cards that are specific to the Overlord, which we'll get into later, but it's really fun for the first Sliver because you like cascade into other slivers, and those slivers cascade into other slivers, and then you just get this big old board full of slivers, which is great. My only argument for the fact is that I cannot get answers exactly when I want them. Sometimes I'll get way more abundance than I need, and sometimes I won't get exactly what I need for any given situation, which is why I like the Overlord more, plus the sprinkling of being able to steal stuff is hilarious. Up next we have Darkheart Sliver, Bone Scythe Sliver, and Birds of Paradise, another non-sliver. Darkheart Sliver, black and a green for a 2/2. All slivers have sacrifice this permanent. You gain 3 life. Cool interaction I had with this guy, saved my life, absolutely, and this is why I love the Overlord. I had Black Market Connections out on my board. It was my opponent before me's turn. It was going to kill me because you have to pick one. So in my upkeep before my main phase and before Black Market Connections triggered, I tutored with the Overlord for the Quick Sliver to give all my slivers flash, and to give it, the Quick Sliver has flash. So I got it into my hand, played it out, and then tutored for the Darkheart Sliver, got it into my hand, played it out, and then I had a board full of slivers, so I just sacked a bunch of them to gain 3 life for each one, thus keeping me alive from the Black Market Connections trigger, and thus winning me the game later on. Bone Scythe Sliver, 3 and a white for a 2/2. Sliver creatures you control have double strike. Get them in there to attack twice. They got that scythe, they can do the first swing and then another swing, or a tail whip, or something, maybe a headbutt. Birds of Paradise, 1 green for a 0/1 flying. Tapped, add 1 mana of any color, just a dork. We need the dorks. It's a 5-color deck, we need dorks. Then we have Telekinetic Sliver, Sliver Gravemother, and Crystalline Sliver. Telekinetic Sliver is 2 and 2 blue for a 2/2. All slivers have tap, target permanent. Well, you can tap them and then tap target permanent. Keeps the big boys from getting to us, keeps big boy flyers from getting to us. You know, we can use our slivers to tap down any creatures that our opponent might attack us with. We can get political with it, save some people. It's real nice to have on the board. Sliver Gravemother's Wooburg for a 6/6. The legend rule doesn't apply to slivers you control. Sick. Each sliver creature card in your graveyard has Encore X, where X is its mana value, and then the Gravemother itself has Encore 5 for her mana value. So what happens when you Encore? You exile that card from the graveyard. For each opponent, create a token that attacks that opponent this turn. If able, they gain haste, sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step, activate only as a sorcery. So if you like had your Legion in there and you encored your Legion, it would make a token for that attacks every opponent, so 3 opponents, so you'd have 3 Legions on the board. If you had the Sliver Gravemother out, the legend rule wouldn't apply, so they wouldn't pop, so you get a big buff. So the thing around this, you have her out, maybe your Legions in your graveyard, bring the Legion out, boom, boom, boom. Everything gets +1/+1 for each other 3 times over, which is a lot of math, and you know that's for blockers. Crystalline Sliver, 1 white and 1 blue for a 2/2. All slivers have Shroud. They can't be the target of spells or abilities. Perfect, that's some protection. Note, you cannot target your own stuff if it has Shroud. Hexproof, you can target your own stuff, but Shroud, you cannot, so just remember that. Up next, we have Hibernation Sliver, Cloud Shredder Sliver, and Amoeboid Changeling. Hibernation Sliver is 1 blue, 1 black for a 2/2. All slivers have pay 2 life. Return this permanent to its owner's hand. So you can get around some targeted removal this way. You can return them to your hand. The board wipe comes off. It's not the most ideal situation to do this, but if you have to, if you're forced to, I have been before, you can return some of your key slivers to your hand in response to a board wipe. To get them back, you have to pay 2 life for each one, which really sucks. It'll set you back on life a lot, but at least you get to keep those key slivers and hopefully recover real quick. Cloud Shredder Sliver, 1 red, 1 white for a 1/1 sliver. Creatures you control have flying and haste, which is amazing. Amoeboid Changeling, 1 and a blue for a 1/1, a changeling, which is a sliver. It has tap, target creature gains all creature types until end of turn, and tap, target creature loses all creature types until end of turn. This is beautiful because you can tap it, give one of your opponent's creatures, maybe their commander, all creature types will end the turn, use the Overlord's ability, steal it, and then you just stolen their commander indefinitely until they remove it off your board, which is hilarious. And last but not least, we have Delighted Halfling and Biomancer's Familiar, both non-slivers, believe it or not. Delighted Halfling, 1 green for a 1/2, tap, add a colorless, and tap, add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast a legendary spell, and that spell can't be countered. It's mainly for our commander to make sure that it can't be countered, because people will be doing that. It also works for our other 4 or 5 legendary slivers that we have in the deck, and the utility colorless is nice. Biomancer's Familiar, 1 green and 1 blue for a 2/2. Activated abilities of creatures you control cost 2 less to activate. This effect can't reduce the amount of mana and ability cost to activate to less than 1 mana, and tap the next time target creature adapts this turn. It adapts as though it had no 1/1 counters on it. We don't care about that at all. We will never tap this to do the adaptability. We will just have it out to reduce the Overlord's activated abilities to tutor for 1 and to steal for 1, which is amazing. For our 9 enchantments, we have Rhystic Study, Sylvan Library, and Intruder Alarm. Rhystic Study, 2 and a blue. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may draw a card unless that player plays 1. A classic, we need the card draw. Sylvan Library, 1 and a green for at the beginning of your draw step, you may draw 2 additional cards. If you do, choose 2 cards in your hand drawn this turn. For each of those cards, pay 4 life or put that card on top of your library. A classic, we need the card draw. The way that I do this is if I have Sylvan Library out and I go to my draw phase, I set my hand down on the table, I draw the top 3, I look at them, I decide what I want to keep and what I want to toss. I'll put 1 back, 2 back, or none back, and then I'll add the remaining cards to my hand. Intruder Alarm, 2 and a blue for creatures don't untap during their controller's untap step. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, untap all creatures. So you have your slivers out, you've got the one that gives haste, you got the one that taps for mana, you tutor, bring in a sliver, untap all your slivers, tap your slivers to tutor, and play an additional sliver. They all untap. You see where I'm going with this? Get all your slivers out, all at one time. Next we have Smothering Tithe, Training Grounds, and Mana Echo. Smothering Tithe, 3 and a white for whenever an opponent draws a card, that player may pay 2. That player doesn't, you create a treasure token. We need the extra mana. It's a classic. Training Grounds, 1 blue. Activated ability is a creature you control, costs 2 less to activate. This effect can't reduce the mana in that cost to less than 1 mana. The same thing as the Familiar, but on a 1 cost enchantment, gets our Overlord's activated abilities down to 1, which helps a lot. Mana Echoes, 2 and 2 red. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, you may add an amount of colorless equal to the number of creatures you control that share a creature type with it. So with Mana Echoes out, you get 2 slivers on board, you play a sliver, you can add, 2 colorless. Right? You can play another sliver, you can add 3 colorless. And you can just keep doing this to get mana, to keep casting, and keep casting, and so I started casting. And last but not least, we have Spirit of Resistance, Kindred Discovery, and Black Market Connections. Spirit of Resistance, 2 and a white for if you control a permanent of each color, prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. We're in a 5-color deck. We have a 5-color commander and various other multicolored things. So Spirit of Resistance is great to offer us a little protection while we're building up if we can get it out early with our commander. Just our commander is everything we need to fulfill this, and then we can just prevent all damage to us. We don't have to worry about burn spells or being attacked or whatever for as long as this remains on board with our all 5 colors. Kindred Discovery, 3 and 2 blue. As Kindred Discovery enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. We're going to be picking slivers. Whenever a creature you control of the chosen type enters the battlefield or attacks, draw a card. We need the card draw. Black Market Connections, 2 and a black. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, choose 1 or more. Create a treasure token, lose 1 life, draw a card, lose 2 life, or create a 3/2 colorless shapeshifter creature token with Changeling, lose 3 life. More importantly, it makes Sliver Boys. We need the advantage on mana, need the advantage on cards, and sometimes you need the advantage on creatures. Most of the time, I mean, you're obligated to do a full send, but you don't have to. This is the card that I was talking about that almost killed me, but thankfully, thanks to the Overlord's ability to tutor, which is superior to the first slivers, we were able to save ourselves. Sorry. And for our 10 instants, we have Swan Song, Enlightened Tutor, and Muddle the Mixture. Swan Song, 1 blue, counter target enchantment, instant, or sorcery spell. Its controller creates a 2/2 blurred creature token with flying. We have a lot of counter spells in here, you're gonna need them. Enlightened Tutor, 1 white, search your library for an artifact or enchantment card, reveal it, then shuffle and put that card on top to grab us any of our value enchantments that we need. Muddle the Mixture, 2 blue for counter target instant or sorcery spell. We can also transmute it to discard it and then search our library with a card with the same mana value as that card, reveal it, and then put it into your hand. We can only transmute as a sorcery, but use this to grab, you know, a different tutor, or, you know, a heroic intervention, or I don't know why, but a mana drain, I guess, to counter any spell, or a soul ring if you just need that ramp. Then we have Vampiric Tutor, Fierce Guardianship, into Fierce Protection. Vampiric Tutor, 1 black, search library for a card, then shuffle and put that card on top. You lose 2 life, just a tutor to get good things we need. Fierce Guardianship, 2 and a blue. If you control a commander, you may cast a spell without paying its mana cost. Counter target non-creature spell. Another counter spell that we'll need. Fierce Protection, 2 and a white. Until your next turn, your life total can't change, and you gain protection from everything. All permanents you control phase out, and then exile to Fierce Protection. Gonna need that protection. It's a classic. Then we have Counterspell, Mana Drain, and Heroic Intervention. Counterspell, 2 blue for counter target spell. Pretty simple. Mana Drain, 2 blue for counter target spell. At the beginning of your next main phase, add an amount of colorless mana equal to that spell's mana value. Help us ramp up a little bit. Heroic Intervention, 1 and 1 green. Permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end turn. These are all classics. You'll need them. And finally, we have an Offer You Can't Refuse. 1 blue, counter target non-creature spell. Its controller creates 2 treasure tokens. Not the most ideal situation, giving 2 treasures out, but keeping your board alive from a board wipe or target removal on your commander is more important. For our 9 sorceries in this deck, we have 3 visits, Farseek and Nature's Lore. 3 visits, 1 and a green, search your library for a forest card, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle. Most importantly, this can grab us any of our shocks. Farseek, 1 and a green, search your library for a plains, island, swamp, or mountain card, put it on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Same thing. Nature's Lore, 1 and a green, search your library for a forest card, put that card on the battlefield, then shuffle. Literally same exact thing. You'll notice we went for the full ramp package just as well as the counterspell package. Then we have Sky Shroud Claim, Sylvain Scrying, and Kindred Dominance. Sky Shroud Claim, 3 and a green, search your library for the 2 forest cards, put them on the battlefield, and shuffle. Just like Nature's Lore, 3 visits, but double the fun and double the mana. Sylvain Scrying, 1 and a green, search your library for a land card, reveal it, put that card in your hand, and shuffle your library. Sylvain Scrying can grab us our Cabinet Souls, which is beautiful. Kindred Dominance, 5 and 2 black, choose a creature type, destroy all creatures that aren't of the chosen type. You are required to run this art with the slivers on it. Okay. And then lastly, we have Blasphemous Act, Distant Melody, and Raise the Palace Aid. Blasphemous Act, 8 and a red. The spell costs 1 less for each creature on the battlefield, so it'll never cost 9. Blasphemous Act deals 13 damage each creature. This is really good for wiping the board. It's also really good for if you have a board full of slivers and Spiteful Sliver out and you want to close the whole game off. Deal 13 damage to each player for however many, to target player for however many slivers you have, which usually closes out a game. Distant Melody, 3 and a blue. Choose a creature type, draw a card. For each permanent you control of that type, please always choose slivers. If you don't, you need help. Raise the Palace Aid, 4 and a blue. Choose a creature type, please again choose slivers. Return all creatures that aren't of the chosen type to their owner's hands. For our 4 artifacts, yes, I know, only 4, we have Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, and Urza's Incubator. Soul Ring's a classic 1 for tap, add 2 colors, ramp. Arcane Signet, 2, tap, add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity, which is all 5, ramp. Urza's Incubator, 3 is Urza's Incubator, enters the battlefield, choose a creature type, slivers. Creature of the chosen type costs 2 less to cast. It's also in our Eldrazi deck, pretty much in any tribal deck, to reduce the cost of our stuff. Notably, it won't affect the slivers that are just like 2 colors, unfortunately. And then lastly, we have Door of Destinies for 4 generic. This Door of Destinies enters the battlefield, choose a creature type, slivers once again. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, put a charge counter on Door of Destinies. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1 for each charge counter on Door of Destiny, so just buffing them up, and that'll close out our artifacts. Alright, and for our lands, and this is a hefty mana base. To start off, we have 1 of each basic except for Swamps. It is the least prevalent mana type among all the stuff in our deck, so there we've got our basics. Then we have Command Tower, City of Brass, and Ketria Triome. Command Tower taps for 1 mana of any color, since we have all 5 in our identity. City of Brass taps for any color, but it deals 1 damage to you. And then Ketria Triome taps for green, blue, or red. It enters tapped, which is unfortunate. We want to run the least amount of tap lands as we possibly can, but we need the ability to search for it with our Grab a Forest cards, because it's technically a forest. Then we have Zoggoth Triome, Fabled Passage, and Exotic Orchard. Zoggoth Triome, another searchable forest card that enters tap that gives us access to more colors. Fabled Passage, you tap it, sack it, search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle. And if you control 4 or more lands, untap that land. So easy way for us to ramp. Get a basic, hopefully have it come in untapped. Exotic Orchard, add 1 mana of any color that a land and opponents control could produce. Just helps us fix our colors. Then we have Indatha Triome, Cavern of Souls, and Ancient Zuggurat. Indatha Triome, another tap Triome that we can search for with the forest cards. Cavern of Souls, as Cavern of Souls enters the battlefield, choose a creature type, you'll pick Sliver, tap out a colorless, or tap add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana, only cast a creature spell of the chosen type, and that spell can be countered. Beautiful for this deck, because people are going to want to be countering our Slivers. Ancient and Zuggurat, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to play creature spells. As you see with most of these, besides the Triomes, we want them to come in untapped and give us access to all colors. Then we have Secluded Courtyard, as this land enters, choose a creature type. Tap, add a colorless, tap, add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type or activate an ability of a creature source of the chosen type. Comes in untapped, gives us mana of any color, and can still activate, well, Overlord's generic, but it doesn't matter. We can activate colored abilities if we wanted to, if we have any slivers that do that. And now onto the shocks and fetches. Then the big money part of this deck, we have all 10 of the fetches. The Arid Mesa, the Marsh Flats, the Misty Rainforest, Scalding Tarn, Verdant Catacombs, Bloodstained Mire, Flooded Strand, Polluted Delta, Windswept Heath, and Wooded Foothills. What all these allow you to do is to tap Pay 1 life, sack it, and search your library for a mountain, or a forest, or an island, or the plains, or a swamp, or, you know, all that other stuff. You can search for your shocks with this, or basics if you want to. It helps deck thin, and it helps get you the colors when you need them. Then the last big chunk of change, we have all 10 shocks. The Blood Crypt, the Breeding Pool, the Godless Shrine, the Hollowed Fountain, Overgrown Tomb, Sacred Foundry, Steam Bin, Stomping Ground, Temple Garden, and Watery Grave. So what all these lands are, they're lands that have dual typing with the land types in the box here. Island, Swamp, Mountain, Forest, Plains, Island. So you can search for them with the fetch lands. They all tap for one of either color. Blue or black, green or red, white or blue, green or blue, green and black, you know, get our colors. They have the option of coming in untapped if we pay 2 life. If we don't, they enter tapped. This is why you need that Siphon Sliver for some life gain when you need it from playing all these cards. Now, with these shocks and fetches, all 20 of these land cards, the mana base is super expensive. Do you have to run all 10 shocks and fetches? No. You can get by with doing slower tap lands and check lands and bond lands and pain lands, stuff that are a lot cheaper, a lot easier to get your hands on, but it won't be as fast. And I'm going for competitive speed, baby. And thus concludes our Sliver Tribal high-powered commander deck. What did you guys think? Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like, and please subscribe. A lot of people that view these are not subscribed. Please. I need to make it to 1,000. Please subscribe. I beg you. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. Thank you. Have a great day.